Welcome.
Hi, welcome everyone. Hopefully this can be a short just kind of update check-in meeting. A couple of things that I wanted to bring up, but I also wanted to leave space available if our treasurer or secretary or lovely admin Jess had anything or updates that they wanted to share. I suppose we could do a warm welcome, although we all know each other. So maybe we could skip that. Do we all feel good with that? Yes, excellent. So we just started earlier this afternoon planning for this fabulous Marcy Arts event that will happen in April. And we're just coming up with ideas, and it is all going fabulously, and I don't have anything else to report other than we will likely need many volunteers. So if you, or if you know other people, other families at Marcy who might be happy or available to volunteer that evening or at some point, that would be lovely. I think at some point we'll need to start collecting volunteer information for people to help like the actual day or the day before or whatever, kind of physically. Oh, Emmy, don't worry about it. Yeah, and the date is a little bit flexible. We don't want to have an arts event during Ramadan and making that difficult for many in our community to attend. So that's what I have with that kind of big event that's coming up next month. And so now I leave it to either Abra or Kate, if either one of you have things to share.
I have very little to share. I think one teacher submitted a classroom request refund for $35. So I wrote her a check. We got a $20 donation from Amazon Smile, which is sadly going away. But because, it's clearly Amazon is not making enough money to continue with charitable donations. That's too much to ask. I think that's kind of all the activity in the Treasury Department this past month. I paid the bookkeeper, which again, I was negligent in my duties to look at a new bank and a different bookkeeping model. I just sent myself an email to remind myself to do that. So apologies, but I will do that before next month.
I don't have anything in particular. Since I wasn't present at the last month's meeting, I think that we decided to do it's a video recording, so we'll count that as a record. So all who approve, can I motion? Everybody, I motion in favor of all approving a video record from the last meeting.
Yes.
All right. Then we can do that. Actually, I was just wondering, because for a while we've been talking about maybe organizing an event ourselves for, was it Black History Month? But then it seemed like the school had already organized an event. So is that a communications mix-up that we didn't know that was happening already?
Jess will be right back. So I don't, I didn't know about the dance event until it was happening.
Okay, just something to keep in mind for future event planning is maybe we need I don't know how far in advance they plan these things, but maybe we need to get that on our calendar too.
It would have been cool to live stream it too to families.
Yes, that is a good idea, but you're muted.
That was excellent lip reading, Abra. I was like, she just said that's a good idea.
I was gonna say I got that one.
Very expressive with the even though you're muted.
And what happened with the Gymboree?
So that's probably gonna get folded into this arts event in April. And have the Gymboree open gym during the arts as kind of an ongoing thing, or maybe it's still in the planning amorphous stages there. Because there's also conferences that need to get rescheduled and spring break and this arts event and track and field day. So like there's stuff coming up later this spring.
Gotcha. I might have missed what was said about the arts event since the 7-year-old is screaming at the top of her lungs, but
just in the initial planning stages,
Okay.
it will happen sometime late April after Ramadan is over. Initial planning, lots of thoughts, lots of great ideas, but nothing kind of like settled concrete. We just had our first meeting earlier today.
Gotcha. And is this being planned by the school or in school and Family Connections or?
School and Family Connections.
Cool.
We're meeting every Thursday at 4:15.
If you want to come.
Be at work.
It's a good time for staff to meet.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and if, well, and sorry, jumping in here, but we'll have other opportunities. Today was our first planning day. And so if that meeting time doesn't work, but you want to be a part of planning, like a part of it, we're going to start kind of, you know, breaking down some of the details. So we'll probably need some subcommittees or people to kind of like take different activities and run with the planning of those. So we'll definitely keep folks in the loop. And it looks like most likely, because I know that with after school, we want to do it on a Thursday because after school is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So most likely it'll be April 27th, knowing that we'll need to move it from April 20th. But so tentatively, but we'll I'll work with Trinity tomorrow to double check all the calendars and make sure that that date will work.
One of the things we were talking about just while you were gone is like the Black History Month and the dancers and kind of communication that way. And one thing I remember Trinity saying at a site council is maybe even coming up with a school calendar like over the summer or at the spring for like the next year, so that there's kind of already things planned out so that it's clear and there's a plan for everyone. Is that still maybe something that's being thought about?
100%. Yep. We yeah, that is ideally we want to pick out. Oh geez. Sorry. The talks are full of energy since I just got home a little bit ago. Yeah, we want to be looking at a calendar of dates for family events throughout the year. And then that's one of the things that we are working into. We're currently interviewing for our arts magnet coordinator. And so that's one of the big things. And that's been a little tricky, you know, being without that role. But that's going to be one of the big pushes for that role, to make sure that we're incorporating arts into various things throughout the year, like American Indian Awareness and Family Involvement Week, like what we did in November, and then February, Black Excellence, Black History, and pinpointing some dates throughout the year to get those on the calendar, and academic nights too, because we do really want to be having more opportunities to invite families in to kind of see what students are working on in various content areas aside from art too. So yes, that is one of our big goals, and we'll have time in January to really piece that together. So yeah.
Did Hannah leave? Did I miss something?
She did.
Oh.
She did. She's been very involved in an organization for quite some time, and they offered her a position that she couldn't refuse, and it's her heart and soul and passion. So we're really excited for her. It's so great. We're sad to have lost her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she came for our special dance celebration. I mean, she still very much loves Marcy and the community, and but yeah, she's a part of transforming families now. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
I saw her front and center at Walls's bill signing.
yes, it's
Yay.
amazing. She's doing great things. So
Executive order, we still need to pass the
Oh,
legislation.
sorry.
Important, but not good enough. Okay. Jess, do we know about conference rescheduling? Because Family Connections was gonna do something to like have like a table or like welcome families in, and I know it's a whole thing.
it's a whole thing. We had to go through a process of, because the union and the contract is, there's a lot of parameters that we have to work within. So staff had to vote. There had to be a 70% agreement on the date. So you'll see in the newsletter, because of course the vote came in right after we finished the newsletter today, that'll be coming home tomorrow, that you'll be getting information from your teacher. But there'll be 4 hours the evening of March 30th. That's a Thursday. So from 4:15 to 8:15, and then also 4 hours of flexible time that the teacher will offer. That could be morning opportunities if those 4 hours don't work, or if they get filled up really quickly. They'll have other times, either before school, after school, that they can really work one-on-one with their families to determine what will work for them. And they'll be scheduling those. So yeah, let's do a table March 30th if anyone's available, and start recruiting some more families.
Well, and hopefully then too we'll have at least a date for the arts event too, so we could like be promoting that. And
Yes.
maybe too, if there's information about like a kindergarten welcome or high five welcome or something like that, we could share that with families.
Yes, those would all be great things to share. I love it. And I had a welcome table set up for staff too, to, kind of help guide families in the right direction, and just had a vision of making it a big welcoming space with Family Connections and our staff. And when it fell through, didn't quite work out, but we'll be able to do it the evening of the 30th at least. So
I wonder too, fellow Family Connections people, what do we feel about getting dinner for staff that night? Because we were gonna do a Stock the Lounge event. I had all this food in my basement, but since we didn't do that because there was no school all week, I wonder, in the past we've done a lunch during Teacher Appreciation Week in May, but maybe we could also
I
do
think
dinner
that would
that
be
night.
lovely.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Does anybody want to call around places to get the food ordered?
I can, if I know about how many people and what the budget is.
I
Just
can get you number of people. It'll be just our licensed staff. So I can email you that number, Emmy.
Okay, sounds good.
Kate, do you have a?
I can let me look at the budget. Hold on.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be right now either. It can be.
And Emmy, I can very easily, like, if you find a place, but like the drinks are really expensive or something, like it's no biggie for me to run to Costco and get, several cases of pop.
And while you're placing that order, you should ask if they're the kind of place that sometimes allows people to do fundraisers. A portion of everybody who goes in and buys something goes back to the school. Just ask while you're placing this very large order.
Sounds good.
Emmy, will you let me know if you're running into obstacles and I can call around to places too?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll probably try to be intentional about like doing a minority owned restaurant or somewhere. One that came to mind was Breaking Bread. But yeah, I will.
Thank you for doing that, Emmy.
Sure. What time? So conference from 4 to 8, you said that night?
Yep, 4:15 to 8:15.
So if we had something like at 5.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay.
And I know probably since it's like that, the 4 common hours, I'm guessing a lot of teachers, classroom teachers will have conferences scheduled back to back. So yeah. Oh geez, if we could have it set up and then people could come when they have a quick moment to grab something.
I wonder too if like a boxed dinner type situation might be beneficial, something that
A grab and
rather
go.
than like
Yeah.
filling up a plate, they can just like grab a pre-portioned meal to bring back to their classroom.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'll get you numbers too, Emmy. I don't think we have currently any gluten-free, and I think we have a few vegetarians. So
Okay.
I'll get dietary restrictions
Great.
for you.
Just
Okay.
give a ballpark. Is it like 30, 50?
Licensed staff?
Yeah.
I'm thinking around 40. I'm
Okay.
gonna double check and make sure that all of our folks, licensed staff that are split between buildings or like are like speech and OT and stuff like that. I don't want to leave them out if they're going to be there, but I don't know if they will be there. So, but yeah, I'm thinking around 40.
I mean, we have 2,000 budgeted for staff and teacher support, and we spent like 300. So we have a decent amount. I would say like if we thought a ballpark of like $500, that's, I mean, like I feel like most boxed lunch kind of things are around 10.
Yeah, I was going to say
$12.
around 10 per person or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. I'll look into it.
Thanks, Emmy.
So speaking of the association the welcome table that we're going to do we have any swag or anything like that to give away to families? I don't know what we have tucked away in a back room somewhere. Like, I remember
Yard signs.
Well, we have the yard signs, which the plan was to sell them, but I mean, we can revise that plan if we want to. The plan was to sell and give it to Hannah Nemitz. I don't know if Jess, there's any other swag.
We have a few t-shirts. Claire, I think Andrew just brought one home for you. Huh?
Claire wore it to our meeting with Sydney Jordan the other day.
Nice.
I love that it was moisture wicking.
I know.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh, wow.
those are also things we could sell separately. I was thinking like, I don't know, pencils or, something small, or a spin the wheel thingy where you can spin and get some.
We could get some. We can get some pencils or something.
I think just having like spin the wheel and maybe you get candy, maybe you get a pencil, maybe you get something else and you fill out your email address if you want stuff, if you want to get email newsletters from us or anything like that.
Do you want to make a spin the wheel, Abra?
I have no idea how to make a spin the wheel. I think that's something you buy, isn't it? Like one of
Like
the
somebody on like Facebook free marketplace.
Yeah, I was going to say buy nothing. I feel
Yes.
like.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm a post right now.
If we all ask our buy nothings, I think we're all in different ones.
I mean, we could get like a bunch of pencils that say like Marcy Art School for not very much money. That would be a good like draw people in thing. I'll order us some.
And we could also get some like bulk individually wrapped sweets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like someone that goes to Costco could get us.
I love my Costco. If I can become that Midwestern mom, I
No,
will
Claire,
have.
you
like,
already are that Midwestern mom. What are you
talking
talking
about that lady from TikTok.
about? You are there. You are there.
Goal achieved. Okay. So we'll do a welcome table and prizes and emails and talk about the arts event.
And have yard signs for sale.
And yard signs.
Because I got a lot of boxes in my basement. And a bench. I got a lot of Marcy's SHIT in my basement.
When are you gonna install that bench?
That was actually something just that I forgot to bring up. Maybe at this arts event.
Yeah, that's right. We were gonna talk about that too. Okay. We'll put it
But
on.
that can be talked about. I mean,
Yeah.
if not, then I'm sure we can find another time.
And I will ask Trinity if we can sell those t-shirts too. I know we don't have a ton and we're limited on sizes. But better to have them on people than sitting in a box, right, Claire?
And that's when you say only 2 left. Get it while it's get them while they're still here. Limited availability.
Can't tell you how many people at the Capitol asked me if this was a more moisture wicking shirt.
Just like saying moisture, don't you?
I'm just saying what they said. All right.
Can I ask a question of Jess?
You have not reached your question limit yet, so go for it.
This is unrelated to the activities of this group, I think.
Yeah.
But do you have any info or context or like anything to share about the stuff that's going on at Pillsbury? And like how it may or may not impact other elementary schools in the area?
What is the situation?
The Lion of Judah group that did a press conference outside the school.
Yeah,
I totally
you
missed
know,
that.
I know a little bit. I was aware of it. I was made aware of it. And it, from what I know, things are being handled like very much up to like protocol of what legally should be done on the school's end, on the district's end. And I think now that it's kind of being like a lot of more attention seems to be going to it. I think everybody involved is just remaining super tight-lipped about that. But yeah, it's just really unfortunate all around.
What happened for those of us who have not heard?
There was an incident with it was a paraprofessional in ESP that a student said that he engaged with her in a physical manner. The parents came in wanting to see it. It happened in the hallway. Parents came in wanting to see the video. At that point, the principal had watched some cameras and didn't see anything to report on, so didn't have anything to show. And then one of the parents, the dad, is a part of tell me the name.
Lions of Judah, Armed
Yeah.
Forces.
Yeah, came in with, so that the parent came in with some other representatives of that group, demanding action, and recorded it. And because Minnesota's a one party recording state, so they didn't have to ask for permission, and they recorded their interaction and posted it on social media. And then they've just been I mean, I think it's shown up on Instagram, and
Yeah, they put it on Instagram, and my neighbor sends her kids there, and she texted me. It was like, "What's going on? Do you know anything about this?" Because then they did the group did a press conference outside the school, and the school went into lockdown during the press conference, so her kids were all freaked out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, from having worked there before, it's some of the most amazing staff that I've ever worked with. The person that was, and they followed protocol, right? Once this accusation was made, this employee was immediately put on leave. So, and it really just to do the proper investigation, which is exactly the protocol that should be followed. I think where the headbutting came in was parents wanting to see the video, but there being, not, there's so many cameras in our building, and for us to ever pinpoint where something is, when there's an incident and we need to have, video evidence, it takes so much time to go through each camera to see which angle at what time. And so, at that point, with the evidence or the information that she had, she didn't see anything on the video, so didn't have any video to show them at that point. Apparently now there has been a video found, and it, who knows? I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the questions that came up for me when I was listening to my friend talk about this. Is like, does Marcy have cameras in like every classroom and in the hallways and everything?
Not in every classroom, but all throughout the hallways. We have cameras around the building. So if there's like an incident at recess, we're able to look at the cameras to see, that seems to be like unstructured times, seems to be the times that things happen most frequently. In the lunchroom, if there's reports of something that happened, we're able to look to see. So, but yeah, I mean, there are only two people three, our head engineer is able to as well, but only three people who have access, and to sit down and look through all that footage it is really time consuming. And obviously we don't have to do it that often, but when something's reported, we absolutely do, because it's important to see. So
yeah, thanks for I didn't, yeah, it was such a unique experience that I had no context for, and I was just wondering like what the implications, if any, were for other schools or other,
yeah, and I think, for the other kids, I think that the physical look of the people, it is very like militia, and I think that is very scary for kids to see. So yeah, I feel for everyone involved, and it's really sad because I know Pillsbury to be just a great school, and it's just it's a shame for all parties involved. And most importantly, I hope that the child is okay and safe, and so yeah.
well, thanks.
Yes.
I don't have anything else this evening. I intentionally was trying to make this a short thing, and so unless anybody else has anything.
Well, I always like to hear how things are going at Marcy, like a brief, what's going well or what's been challenging.
Yeah. Well, one of the great things that I know, it was presented last week at Site Council is our budget for next year is healthy. It will help us support the needs that we have. One of the biggest things that we continue to say is that we need mental health support. And so because our compensatory funds are increasing, our Title I funds are increasing, we are able to put into our budget 2 additional full-time social workers. So, which is
Wow, that's
amazing.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and one of the things, like, we have 3 student support professionals, Paku, Jim, and Melanie, but it was just Paku for the first half of the year. Jim and Melanie are great. And that supports the response and the reactive part, but we know that we need that proactive piece. And classroom teachers have so much on their plates, and they want so desperately to be supporting all of the various needs in their classrooms. And we know that there's been an uptick in need for mental health supports since the pandemic. And so we're able to do that. We are also receiving, it's kind of like our situations this year are supporting our budget that we will get next year. So kind of going through some growing pains this year with trying to make do with what we've got. And then we'll have the funding to support our actual needs next year. We have the district is providing intervention triads, which are 1 intervention teacher, and under each intervention teacher will be 2 40-hour-a-week paraprofessionals who will be trained in interventions and monitored under those teachers. We get 4 of the triads. So we'll have 2 teams. So 6 people working specifically on reading interventions. Same for math. 2 of those triads will go to math. And then we have also put into our budget something that I'm super passionate about, but just feel it just is not getting the attention it deserves this year because there's so many other needs. But we will be hiring an MTSS coordinator. And under that, which is, sorry, I know that educational jargon is a lot of acronyms. So it stands for multi-tiered systems of supports. And so it's really looking at, how core instruction and what's provided in the classroom is impacting students, and then looking at what else is needed. And not just in reading and math, but also social emotional learning. Attendance falls under that umbrella, and really looking at sort of aligning and it's streamlining services, and also having data to support. For instance, with Randy's position, SEL interventionist, he's been pulled in so many different directions this year. He was pulled to sub in 4th grade for a chunk of time. I know that with, Paku being our only student support person for a while, we were relying on him to support with behavior interventions, like immediate behavior interventions. And what his job is really supposed to be is doing these SEL interventions that need to be systematic, and really follow protocol and fidelity to work. For instance, there's a check-in, check-out, which is a great intervention for, connecting with students, building relationships. And it can do amazing things, but if it's not done with fidelity, like if there are days missed, it can backfire. It can really be detrimental and not even worth starting at all. So we'll be able to hold positions like that more sacred because we'll have the additional supports built in so that we're not pulling people in so many different directions. With our predictable staffing, which is what the district gives us as far as what they determine our classroom numbers will be, our student enrollment, they will fund 2 4th grade teachers. So you've got 3 3rd grade classrooms, right, going into 4th grade. And we said, no way, Jose, we need 3. So we bought up another 4th grade teacher. Same with 1st grade going into 2nd grade, how we have 4 1st grade classrooms. They funded us for 3 2nd grade classrooms. And that's just, they'd just be too crowded. I mean, it would max out the classroom space right off the bat. So we bought up another 2nd grade teacher as well. So
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
When you say bought up, where are those funds coming from?
So that's the compensatory funds and the Title I funds, which we can use for class size reduction.
Gotcha.
So essentially within like the last 2 years, our free and reduced lunch count has nearly doubled, maybe even more than doubled. So it had been sitting right around 40% last year. It is now at 80% for next year. So that means a lot of financial resources that can be put in certain places, like additional social workers, so mental health supports, so that we can support the needs that we have.
Gotcha.
Our homeless and highly mobile population has like quadrupled, maybe even more. And so supporting those resources that are needed to provide stability for our students who are experiencing homelessness or are, doubling up in housing and different situations like that. So yeah, we were able to use those funds to reduce class sizes. We're able to so that reducing class sizes, additional social workers. We bought up our school psychologist, who is amazing. I don't know if you've met Dr. Kate Clayton. She hates when I say doctor, but she's got her doctorate. So, but she's amazing. She's amazing. So we bought her up full time because the district will only give you 0.5 school psychologist, and she does so much. And yeah, so different things that we were able to buy up so that they could be full-time positions, and then also the addition of some things that'll really help support the needs that we have. So that's what's really exciting. And I think, another highlight is 4th grade, our new teacher, Dexter, he's just doing remarkable things with his class, who's been through a lot with having some changes in their teachers, and he just that team, him, Chris, Melissa is fantastic. They just got back yesterday. They were at Orchestra Hall, and the kids came back just glowing. This morning we had a big drum circle at breakfast that Mike Mello put on, performed for the school during breakfast. That was amazing. So now that we're getting back on track and we're more fully staffed than we have been all year, we're able to do some of those things that we had always dreamed of doing. But we're just we were existing in survival mode, and now we get to move to that thriving piece that we had really, really wanted to. So yeah, there's some really amazing things happening.
Is Dexter planning on staying on next year as well?
Yes, I believe so. He in conversations, that's his plan. He also is either finished or finishing his administrator's license. So I know that he is looking for a potential shift. So we've talked about the potential of the magnet coordinator. He's very affiliated with the arts. But for now, he's told us that he would like to come back in that 4th grade role. So Yeah. Happy to answer any more questions too.
I had another one. So you were saying that they're gonna go, the district wanted to go down to 2 third grade classrooms, but you,
2 fourth grade classrooms. So
Two
like
fourth grade
the current third grade would be moving from their 3 classrooms into 2 fourth grade classrooms. Because the class size cap shifts when you get to 4th grade.
right. And then, so we started the year with 4 kindergarten classrooms and then changed to 3 when Berkeley had to move back up to 3rd grade, right?
Yep.
So will there be 4 kindergarten classes next year, 4 first grade, 3?
Still
Second.
3. Our numbers are showing just 3 kinders. We currently have 66 kinders enrolled. So that gives us 3 classrooms. And then, yeah, it's really weird. You know, Trinity and I were really trying to get some information of how they come up with the numbers because, you know, we currently have like nearly 100 first graders enrolled. And then next year they projected us for like 75 second graders. And we were like, where are those 25 kids going? They're coming back. So, but yeah, I don't know what sort of formulas they use. And it was weird because some grade levels they anticipated just a decrease in a few, some grade levels they anticipated an increase in a few, but there really wasn't like a formula that was consistent from grade level to grade level. So I don't know how they came up with the numbers, but they gave it's based on student numbers. So I think we were at like 74 4th graders, and that was when they said for next year, so 74 4th graders next year, that they could go into 2 classrooms because of the class size cap. And we said, no way. So yeah, we want to keep our class sizes down because we know how important that is.
And Trinity shared the PowerPoint with all this information. I put it in the email if you're a person who wants to just live in these numbers that exist for you outside of this meeting.
Oh, and buying up band too. That's another thing. Thanks for chiming in there, Claire. Yeah, buying up band. We used to be able to provide band to more kids, and we had to cut because of our budget this current year. But we really believe in music education, and so we would be able to expand our offering of instrumental music to more students, which should be. So third, fourth, and fifth then would get instrumental music.
So will Andrew be back at Marcy full-time then?
Nothing's been signed.
We're really hoping, Claire, we're really hoping.
It's great to have a full-time position. I will just say it's very difficult to be at multiple schools every day.
How'd your meeting with Sydney Jordan go?
Fine.
So Kate,
I was at the Capitol yesterday too, but she's not my rep.
I mean, she's the one who authored the free lunches for all Minnesota students. Like she loves public school and education and thinks all of the funding should happen. But she did share one, I think, helpful piece of information, and that's the representatives in the suburban districts, especially like not immediate suburbs, but like farther out suburbs. They're the ones who really need the kind of push to more fully fund public education, specifically funding the cross subsidy funding with special education and English language learners, as opposed to just general funding, which could then be used to like build a football field. Not that football's not important, because it is, it's an American pastime, but we have a federal mandate. So she said, you know, talking to friends and family and people who live in those outer suburbs,
Exurbs.
and having them talk with their reps would have a big impact
Yep.
as to how things may get passed.
One bill that I was not aware of before I testified against it yesterday at someone else's prompting is HF 1224, which from my understanding would make it a lot harder for tier 2 folks who have tier 2 licenses to move to tier 3, and a lot harder for other folks to get tier 2 licenses, which would really be a huge barrier to a lot of teachers of color. So just putting in a plug to let your reps know to oppose that bill. And if there are any, yesterday I read the testimonial of a teacher at Lucy Laney. And if there are any folks at Marcy, like, I'm happy to meet with my reps and like pass on any testimony about the importance of maintaining pathways. I know teachers have a lot on their plates and probably don't want to spend time writing something out, but if there's anything that you think would be helpful to share, Jess, feel free to let me know.
100%. Yes, it is such a barrier, and it's a barrier to hiring BIPOC teachers, and also in a time that we are desperate for teachers anyway. You know, putting one more hurdle is just so difficult. I don't know how many of you know Susanna. I worked with Susanna at Pillsbury. And so when I came to Marcy last year and saw Susanna was there, I was thrilled because she is amazing. She had I can't remember, she'll be able to tell more specifically, but she was teaching on a variance because when I was at Pillsbury, we were phasing out the transitional dual language program. And so I saw her both as a paraprofessional and as a classroom teacher. She rocks both. And I keep encouraging her to do what she needs to do for her licensure, because I do want to see her in some sort of greater capacity. And they're just, you know, these language barriers and these tests that are very biased continue to be hurdles in standing in her way. And you know, I've been in education for 24 years. I've seen a lot of teachers in my time, and she's really good and dedicated, and is so relational with kids, and moves kids academically, socially. I mean, she's amazing. So I think would be a great person to connect with. I can help you with that too if you want to.
Sure.
To give a testimonial.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually just hired her brother.
Oh, wow.
Here. Yes, he is amazing. He just started as an associate educator. And we just have recently we've had an influx of students enrolling from Ecuador, and we just don't have the Spanish speakers on staff that we need to support their needs. And it's just devastating to walk into a classroom and have these students who are newcomers know very little English and don't even have Spanish speaking peers. So having another Spanish speaker on staff who can support these kids along with other kids is really great. So yeah. He took it, Christian, he took Greg's role. So when Greg flew off to San Diego, we hired Christian.
Well, sorry, I dashed your hopes of ending early, Claire, by asking all my questions.
It's always good to connect and have communication. And I would take 4 minutes early as ending early too. Unless anybody else has questions or comments or things they'd like to add.
Thanks for all your work, Jess.
Yeah, thank
Thank-
you. Your
thank
puppy
you
wants to
all.
go outside.
I know. I know. Just to bark at the neighbors. I think she hears the neighbor's dog outside, so they got to go communicate over the fence.
Talk about their days.
I know, right? Thank you, everyone. Just so glad that there's been definitely like curveballs thrown our way this year, but I'm just sitting in a space, and Trinity and I have talked about this recently too, of just, it just feels so good recently, and it feels like we're just moving in this direction that we fully intended to at the beginning of the year when we were throwing so many curveballs. And it's like, oh my gosh, we finally got our grounding. I was telling her it feels like I'm an 80s kid, so the big wheels, when you'd like pedal and the wheel would just spin, 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 and then finally you'd get some traction. And you're like, I'm going.
That's
Get on a
awesome.
big wheels again. So it's good. And I think our arts festival is going to be amazing. It's going to be a great way to bring families together and celebrate the arts and our students.
Cool. All right, we're having a Minnesota goodbye now, I think.
I know, right? Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.